everybody. Welcome back to another episode of God Built This podcast. I'm your host, Maxine, and we are on episode 6. Okay. This episode, we are going to get into dating while Christian. Okay. We know the the phrase of dating while black, driving while black, golfing while black. There's a lot of while black situations. Now we're just going to spin that into dating while Christian. Okay, being a Christian woman in today's world and trying to date and navigate who's for you and who's not is not an easy task. Okay, I could tell you that with eyes closed. It is not an easy task. Okay, but it's something that, if you are one who desires marriage, commitment, then it's something that it's very good for all of us to understand why dating and being a Christian in today's world could serve as a stumble, as a blocking point for some of us, especially if we run into men or women who are not on the same page as us spiritually, and then we feel discouraged. I know I do sometimes, and we're just going to get into that today in full detail, specifically about how I kind of get a hold of it in my world. All right. So, the scripture that we're going to get into is Song of Solomon 8 verse 4. All right. And this particular verse is also repeated throughout this chapter, throughout this book, Song of Solomon. But in this verse, as well as in chapter 2, verse 7, and chapter 3, verse 5, the same verse is repeated. And it is, "Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires." And like I said, it's repeated again in this book in chapter 2, verse 7, and in chapter 3, verse 5. Now, let's really just get into this a little bit. Daughters of Jerusalem, I charge you, do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. What does that mean? What does it mean to arouse or awaken love until it so desires? It means getting into something, forcing yourself to love someone or be in a relationship before it is time for that to happen. So getting into something prematurely could hurt you, could be a great detriment to you and the other person, because when the time is right, everything will fall into alignment. Now, this is obviously easier said than done, okay? This is easier said than done. Oh my goodness. I have found myself several times in my dating life trying to force something to happen when it wasn't there, or when it has failed several times, or when I am just feeling lonely and I need company, or I want and desire company so bad, I find myself stumbling and then boom, fall back into lust, and there goes that celibacy commitment. Okay. Not funny, not funny. But I mean, I'm just being honest here. It's hard to follow and align myself with this verse sometimes, because when loneliness creeps in, when comparison creeps in, and we know that to be a thief of one's joy when we compare our lives to others, but that is so hard to do, y'all. When I scroll through Instagram, okay, and I see people in my life, people like in my real life, people who I am friends with in my head, but I only know through social media, celebrities, people of influence, social media influence, and I see some of them in relationships, some of them dating, posting their dates, their rings, they just got married, they just had a baby, and I'm just over here trying to get a text back. Okay? Y'all, you don't hear me though. Like, you don't hear me though, because it is incredibly difficult. It's incredibly difficult to not compare my journey and my dating to others when it's just all in my face. And then it comes into play about boundaries. How does boundaries play into this? Well, we need to have boundaries. And I say this to myself all the time. If I find myself objecting my life onto someone else's life who I don't even know on social media, and I then find myself to be lonely, sad, depressed because woe is me, I don't have a date. Woe is me, nigga can't even text me back or text me first. It's something that is hard not to awaken love until it so desires. Okay. Why do we think God does this? Why is this an instruction from God to not rush love, to not get into something prematurely? Well, obviously, He knows what's best for us. He's a God of the future, and He sees what's already ahead of us. He already knows the plan. He knows the next step. He knows that you're gonna text back that ex who always pops in and out of your life and fall right back into your life, and you allow it. And I am guilty of that. Not like an ex, but a situation X, those situationships. But it's something that God's already aware of what's happening, of what's to come, and what will be. So when we try to rush something that God has clearly said to us and made clear to us is not for us, is not aligned to His purpose for us, then we find ourselves in trouble, right? When love is developed incorrectly, we then fall into the patterns of our flesh: jealousy, lust, insecurity, etc. So many different emotions that are of the flesh and not of the spirit awakens within us. If we find ourselves in relationships and then we suddenly we compare our life to other people, we feel like our life is inadequate, we feel insecure about our lack of dates, our lack of commitment from men, and then we just find ourselves eventually settling because the feeling of loneliness is so overwhelming. I don't know about y'all, but at night is when it hits me the most. At night is when it hits me the most, okay? I find myself about to get ready to go to bed. I turn off the lights. It's dark. I'm in my bed. And boom, my mind starts racing. I start remembering past romances. I start remembering past situationships. I start calculating, did I do that right? Did I present myself correctly? Am I to blame? Was I asking for too much? And it's really unfortunate how we may find ourselves beating ourselves up for situations that are out of our control. When God has someone for us, and when He has clearly stated to us this person is not for us, and He has removed them from our lives, why do I find ourselves trying to justify or rationalize the relationship or the situationship? We should instead praise God, thank God for knowing in advance what was to come with that situation, and removing it from making it become any worse than what it was. Okay. So I mentioned a little situation I had with some dude and we were never really together, like boyfriend and girlfriend. It was one of those things that was a situationship. It's a new terminology these days where, we're talking, but the man's not really, is the one in particular not ready for a relationship, and me in the situation tries to kind of piece together the crumbles that I received from this dude. And this has been going on for quite some time. I, for some reason, try to justify and rationalize with myself, okay, he came back again. Maybe this time it'll be better than the last. Maybe this time he will be more than what he was before. He will fulfill the expectations and give me the attention that I want and desire, and blah 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 blah. And guess what happens? None of that. Not one bit of that. It's the same perpetual crap that I continue to find myself in. And why do I go back? Why have I gone back? I mean, right now we're not communicating, so I mean, I'm in a space where I'm not back. But why have I gone back? It's because of those thoughts. It's because of feeling like, okay, well, he's coming back every time. Maybe this means something could conjure up into something better. Maybe there's hope, keep hope alive. And I am such an optimist, you guys. I am someone who tries to find the blessing, the positivity, the joy in any and everything. When yes, that's a good thing sometimes. Well, that's a good thing all the time. But I also feel like I uh, put myself at a disadvantage because I do not find like I'm not real with myself sometimes. I find myself in these fantasy mind stories that I create in my head, and I'm picturing our third, fifth date. I am picturing our moment when he asked me to be his girlfriend and we make it official. I am picturing pictures that we take. I'm picturing interactions that we have with each other's families, and I'm just going on and on and on and on and on, and it's the same perpetual crap that I was experiencing before with the same person. So love is something that needs to be taken seriously because we know it is a powerful emotion, and we know that it is not something that is lightly removed. You know how many times people fall in love and it's so hard to fall out of that love. It's so hard to not forget, but move forward from that person, especially if sex is involved. It's so hard to it's so hard to make yourself remember the life that you had prior to this person. It's so hard to get used to or get back in the swing of things prior to this person coming into your life, and you feel a sense of defeat, like, oh man, I can't shake this love thing off. I can't shake it off. I can't stop thinking about him. I can't stop missing him, and it hurts, and oh my goodness, why couldn't it work out, and all these things, when all of those things could have been avoided had we waited until God told us this is the time or this is not the time, and I want you to wait some more. Now, when we are waiting, the waiting period, it is a blessing. And I know it's hard to accept that sometimes. I know for myself, being single for the past, my last official relationship was like so like 3 years, probably going on 4 years. Yeah, 3 years is not something that is fun every single day. Now, in this season of singleness, it is a great opportunity for me, for anyone else who is listening who may be single as well, to get to know yourself more, to identify ways to progress yourself. If you wanted to start a business, maybe this is a great time, not even maybe, this is a great time to go forth with that. If you want to, start a new line, if you want to get into shape, if you want to go back to school, finish off this degree, whatever your heart desires, being single is a great opportunity to explore and accomplish those goals because you don't have that burden of a commitment. I'm gonna say burden because as much as as much as I do get lonely here and there, and I desire for relationships, relationships that shows my lack of commitment. No, I mean, as much as I would like to have a man in my life who could be committed to me, I am afraid, y'all. And I'm just being honest. I'm afraid of commitment. I'm afraid of being hurt again. I'm afraid of falling in love with someone. I've never been in love with anyone. Boom, shocker. It's funny because when I look back at, I mean, there's only one dude I said I love you to, but I wasn't in love with him. Like, I love what he did for me. Like, I was a little spoiled in a good way because I feel like a, a girlfriend in a relationship, there should be a level of catering and spoil being served to both parties, but especially to the girlfriend. Okay. But I've never been in love. Like, and I look at being in love and loving someone different from each other. When one is in love with someone, they are, well, he or she is just just fallen for that person. They have completely let down their guards. They have completely just matched themselves to this person. And I haven't been in love, so I'm not exactly sure how that feeling is. But I know strong like though. I know strong like. I know intense infatuation. I am an expert at that. But in love, I'm not exactly, you know what, to be honest, I really don't know exactly how that feels per se. I could only imagine how that feels. And from what I've seen around me, from what I've seen on TV, it's something in film, it's something that can't be shaken off easily. And when I think about that, that scares the crap out of me. Okay? To be in love with someone and for it to possibly not work out, for it to suddenly just fall by the wayside, and now you have fallen in this trap of love with this person, and this person leaves you for whatever reason, yo, I'm gonna be on an episode of Snapped. Okay? No, I'm going to be on an episode of Snapped, and we're going to get away with murder because I can't even imagine. Just thinking about it has my heart is palpitating just thinking about that, because that is some pain. I I get so hurt just based off of liking someone intensely, just based off of infatuation, nigga, lust, okay? Just based off of that. Now being in love with someone and for it to not work out, whew, I don't even want to imagine how I would go about that. Now, I, when I think about the confines of marriage, I remember being younger feeling like, okay, well, that's permanent. That's something that, can't be broken, can't be shaken, and that's a safe place. You fall in love with the man proposes, well, he falls in love with you too. Hopefully it's matched. And preferably I would want him to be more in love with me than I am with him, but not in a creepy way. But in a kind of protective barrier, like if he has a little bit more of that love juice, more of that in love juice, and I kind of run out, he could fill my tank. I hope y'all get it. But that's what I'm trying to say. There's a protective barrier when the man is more in love with you. You feel like you have him more. There's more of a commitment, I believe. Okay. But I used to think marriage was something that there's no way out. There's no confusion of feelings, of commitment. It's all on the same We're all on the same page. But niggas divorce, okay? And I'm just being honest. As a Christian, Christians divorce. I've seen many Christians divorce. Some black marriages don't like officially divorce, but they're separated for many years and they just don't go through with the divorce situation because it's a lot of money. I guess from what I'm hearing. I've never been through it, so I'm not sure 100%. But I know of the phrase, it's cheaper to keep her. So niggas just stay in relationships or stay in marriages to, save their wallets. Or, they separate, they don't live in the same house, but by law, and by the eyes of God, right, they are still married. That is something, nigga, what? So you mean to tell me there are people who are Christians who, came into the marriage, doing what they thought was the right thing to do, right? When you have a godly courtship and you get into marriage and you think things are going to remain, and I know I hear, marriage is hard work and it's not an easy task. Like, First of all, if it's not easy, I'm not saying things should be easy per se, but from what I hear about marriage and from what I witness, not even just here, from what I witness, it isn't easy. It isn't something that's a walk in the park. And I feel like I'm contradicting myself in the beginning of this episode. But damn, is that what I want? Not okay. And I say, look, I think this is just me talking right now out of fear. It's just out of fear. But it is valid. It is valid to feel afraid of it all because, damn, I'd rather just hurt by myself rather than be in a marriage or a relationship that will cause me that intense pain. You know how people say, what's that saying? Like, is it better to have love and loss or not have loved at all? I used to think, I feel like I'm still on the fence. At first, I was like, stronghold into, no, it's better to have loved and lost. At least you felt the emotions of love and you experienced the happy times. But nah, nigga, when that shit hurts and when it's lost, when that is ruined, when the nigga cheats or you cheat and things can't get back to how they are, or suddenly things just dwindle and there's no spark, there's no romance, and there's no desire to get back to that spark of romance. There's a lot of reasons why people break up. There's a lot of reasons why marriages fail. And I know the whole saying of, well, if God's at the center of it all, they can't fail. Nigga, look, I'm here to tell you today, still. And I'm not saying God is not capable of repairing marriages. I'm not saying that God can't restore. He definitely can. But what I'm saying is, even though God could be at the center, the parties involved need to be on the same page. Okay? So I could be the wife, right? And I am not trying to speak this into my future. So hypothetically, okay, angels watching, okay, hypothetically, I could be the wife, right? Me and my husband are going through it all, and we're at a space where we either leave or we stick together. And I'm praying to God. I'm putting him at the center of it all. You know how they say, I have a prayer wall. I go to church. I confess to my pastor. We seek counseling. But the husband is not 100% into it. He may not be praying on his own about it, right? Because I can only pray with you for so long. But if you're not really into it, like if you're not in the prayer with me, if you're not in there in the spirit, if you're not praying independent of me about our marriage, if you're still seeking other pleasures, if you're still seeking out other resources outside of our marriage, nigga, we're gonna fail. Okay, so all the praying that I have done and you're not putting in your piece into it, marriage is a partnership. So how can things look better? How can things move past that moment when you're the only person in that situation, in that marriage? And even this goes as far as relationships too, but if you're the only person in that relationship, in that marriage, putting in the work, and you're putting God first, but the other person's not putting God first, and they eventually continue to dwindle and fade away, I'm signing the divorce papers. I'm signing it. Okay. And this kind of gets into the whole, deal breakers. What would you, put up with? What would you completely say no to? What would you completely not tolerate? What would you completely just be like, you know what? You crossed the line. Boundaries are crossed. And I know there are vows said, at the wedding, through thick and thin. But how thin do we gotta go? Because I'm really trying to understand how thin we gotta go till death do us part. So if things are still horrible in our relationship, in our marriage, I gotta wait till you die for us. And these are really just thoughts that goes into my mind about it all. Has a single woman, that's all scary for me. I'm in this season of singleness, and I'm just, maybe I'm overthinking, maybe I have a point here, but these are honest thoughts that I have about marriage and about that commitment. Because when I look at it, I remember my last boyfriend, my like official ex-boyfriend, um we would talk about marriage. We was on the same page about it until we weren't. But when we were on the same page about it, he was adamant. I'm not marrying to divorce. I don't believe in divorce. I'm not in divorce. Blah blah blah. And it's like, nigga, first of all, you don't have a shit with Christ, okay? You go to church to look good. Please, divorce is an option. Okay. Divorce. And as someone who identifies herself as a Christian, has someone who goes to church regularly, who serves in the church, who knows the word, who could preach the word a little bit and all this stuff. Isn't it ironic that I still feel like divorce is an option if need be? And when I say if need be, I look at it as if all options are exhausted, if we went to counseling, if we sought out wise counsel, if we went to the pastor, if we fasted, if we did everything that we could, and it still isn't working. Okay, hand over the divorce papers, because I can't. I feel like happiness and peace is something that is of high value to me, but it's not at a specific price. And what that means is, if my happiness and my peace, my joy are all taken and are all dwindling within this confines of marriage, then it's too expensive. It's too expensive. And I can't fathom being in a marriage and feeling trapped because of our vows and of our commitment that we made before others and God. I respect the commitment. I respect what we put into it. But if things aren't working out, and this is obviously not saying little things like, oh, if he can't put the trash out, if he doesn't clean up for himself, if just like stupid little silly things like that. Obviously not. I'm talking about big things. If you are perpetually cheated on me, nigga, I'm out. Okay? If you got another baby on me, if I'm cheating on you, look, goes both ways. It's not just the men who cheat. But if something like that is happening continuously, and if there's physical abuse, first of all, what? How did I not see those signs prior to us getting married? But if all those things are present and constant and are not changing, are not taking actions to change, I am out. And I wish someone would come up to me. I wish another Christian would come up to me and be like, what you're doing is a sin. Get out of my face. Because being my marriage, I will be out. Okay? I'm not going to be trapped like that. And a lot of times I witness marriages, y'all. And this could be a cultural thing. I'm Haitian. I was born in America, but my parents were born in Haiti. And, I grew up in the culture. I grew up in, this is my upbringing. I have a Haitian upbringing. And I witnessed many marriages that are just sad. And people still stick within it. People still stick in it. And the man is, particularly the husbands, don't go to church with them. They're completely on a different page. The husband will have a whole ass family outside of the marriage and will be with that family or will be somewhere else. And you're over here praying, going up to the altar, and it's been like this for the past 15 years. No, I don't believe that's the life God wants for you. Like, I know long suffering is a part of our walk as Christians, but I also don't see that for the rest of your life. Okay? I also don't believe God will allow for that to continuously occur. Look, that's just my opinion. And I know, don't put your opinion. The word says the word. I'm still looking through the word and I'm still learning more and more. Even though I grew up in the church and I know the word, I still read it continuously because there's so much for me to learn. There's so much for me to apply and look at with fresh eyes. Because as a young girl and being a young adult now, it's a different application that I could put in my head and in my life. Now, there's a sad existence of wives that I have seen who just are sad, y'all, and I don't want that. And I know I just got on a whole rant about that, but that's really a fear that I have. And I just think about dating while being a Christian in this world. First of all, so all the stuff that I just described are fears that I have of like marriage, and I look at marriage as something in the future, like over there, like over there, over there, over there, yeah, over there, over there. Okay, right now is hard. Okay, I can't even think about too deeply for too long about what's in the future or what I look at in the future, and I hope that's not my my reality of what I just described of the whole sad existence in a marriage thing. But when I think about right now, nigga, it's hard right now. Okay, first of all, being a Christian right now and trying to find or be found by a man who fought like who is of my expectations. I want a man of God. And what is a man of God? What is a man of God? What is a man of, is a man of God is someone who follows the same faith as I do, who serves the same God as I do, who believes in the Bible, who is trying to follow God the way the word instructs us to, and is not trying to justify it in any way. You know how some men be like, oh, I'm a man. Well, not some. A lot of men be like, oh, I'm a man. I got knees, blah blah blah. And I'm just like, yeah, but you said that you are, a servant of God, and you're saying, yeah, but I'm a man though. Like that's God knows who He designed. Yet also in that He also wants us to practice, self-control and all that stuff. So I want a man who, when I talk about celibacy, he's not looking at me like I just said, blah, 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 blah. Like I just said gibberish. I want a man of God to really already be on that same path. Cause y'all know Megan Good and Devon Franklin. I would say Devon Franklin. And I'm not trying to, I know, like, I'm not trying to do the whole relationship goals thing, but it really does make me proud to see godly relationships be in the forefront like they are, when they dated, when they courted. I think they only courted for like a year. And I've said previously, a year I feel like is too short for me to just date you. Well, not date you, but too short for me to just move on from the dating and into marriage. Like that's a little scary too, but that's also with my whole fears of marriage and like all that stuff. But what I was going to say is Devon and Megan, they both waited together. They have the book called The Wait. I bought that book. He was waiting on his own, independent of her. Like, you know how there are a lot of men of God out there who suddenly become celibate once they meet their soon to be wife, and she's celibate and she will like for them to continue that. That's really the only time he's ever been celibate. I want to meet a man of God who's already been celibate, who's already taken this commitment up to God and has already understood and is continuously understanding the significance of sex, particularly for the confines and the structure of marriage. And that's what I would like to encounter. A man of God who's just already on the same page as me spiritually. Like, it shouldn't even be a tugging war about that topic. Like, nigga, we should already be on the same motherfucking page. But oftentimes that's not the case, and oftentimes that's something that's like convincing that I have to do. I have to kind of explain my reason for that, and it's just why, like, you're getting me annoyed. Stop. But yeah, dating is hard. Dating is hard, and I've just experienced too many F boys in my life that I just don't even understand what is life after that. Like, yo, my dating life is a joke, yo. Like, and I'm trying not to. Well, I'm not even actually trying actively, but I know I should not say negative things about my life and about my dating life and my experience with men, because obviously our words have power. There's power in the tongue, and it could speak life, it could speak death. So if I continuously say, all men are F-boys, or ain't no men of God out there, ain't no real men of God out there, then I'm only going to attract those men. But nigga, I've only been attracting those men. Okay? And I don't know what I am doing wrong. Am I not praying hard enough? Am I not believing hard enough? Am I not steadfast in my faith and my walk? And I don't know. And I was told a couple of weeks ago that my expectations, no, this is verbatim what he said, I expect too much. Now, if y'all can see me right now, I am rolling my eyes as hard as I can, but I'm going to stop since you can't see me right now. But that is asinine. Asinine. Okay? And let me just give you some context. So he said that after I said how I was annoyed. I didn't say that verbatim, but let me try to explain. So me and this dude, every time we hang out, and he's the dude I was talking about earlier, about like not really in a relationship, in a situationship, and we always kind of come back to each other. And I don't know why I do that, because things continue to be the same and there's no progress. Yet I find myself going back because I'm either in a space of vulnerability or loneliness and blah blah blah. Excuses. I know I gotta do better. And right now we're not in a space where we're communicating with each other, so I'm good for now. At least I'm being honest. I'm good. It's a day by day, okay? But when we were communicating, he said to me, I expect too much, because the last time we hang out, and this is something that is a continuous pattern with us, because every time we hang out, we would hang out, like, okay, so we hang out on Thursday, right? Well, last Thursday, right? Say if we hung out last Thursday, okay, cool. He hits me up on Friday. We chit chat. Okay, tee. Saturday, we chit chat a little, but then I don't hear from him. I don't see him. Sunday comes by. Monday comes by. Tuesday comes by. I I would text. He'll keep it short, or um there's no desire or initiative made by him to make another plan for us to see us. And at this point, it's been 4 days, and it's like, nigga, what? You know? And I've expressed that to him, how, like, pretty much every time we hang out, right after, you go ghost. Like, you go ghost. You go missing. I see your picture on a milk carton, and I'm just trying to figure out, where did you go? Where did you go? Because I was just with you the other day. Where did you go? I don't understand how this happens. This has happened all the time with us. Yet I'm the one to blame, because I know this happens all the time. I know this is something that is clearly not changing. Yet I still feel like, well, I felt like many times before, oh, this could get better. We come back for a reason. There has to be a reason why yeah, the devil's the reason. He's not stopping on me. Okay? The devil's the reason. That's the reason. But yeah, okay, so when I said that to him, I was like, you just go ghost on me. You just disappear. And I just feel like that's disrespectful. And then he said to me, I expect too much. What? expecting your time and attention is too much. Nigga, that is the bare minimum. I'm trying to do the bare minimum. If you want me to expect too much, expect that I see you every single day. Expect that you take me out to extravagant places. But no, I don't. I really don't. And at that point, I was thinking to myself, like, damn, am I expecting too much? And I had to quickly check myself, like, no, B. No, B. You don't. You expect this is the bare minimum. If he can't even obtain to that, then what are we doing? Okay? Y'all. And this is just to all the women out there who are listening. Thank you for listening. I really appreciate it. Please subscribe. But to all the women out there and men, but specifically the women, there are men out there who will try to make you feel like you're doing too much, you are expecting too much, you're just extra, you're just too much. I think those are the two worst words I could hear from a man whom I'm dating. Too much. No, nigga, this is not enough. Okay? Don't let anyone make you feel like you're doing too much, you're expecting too much, your expectations are too high. No, you can't meet me where I am. You can't meet my requirements. That is on you. You are inadequate. I'm not too much. I'm enough. Okay? Y'all are enough, ladies. Okay? So this is just an encouragement for y'all to never let that simmer. As soon as that tried to simmer within me, I quickly checked myself and was like, nah, Maxine, you're not too much. You are enough, okay? And honestly, when the right one comes along, what I require won't even be a question, okay? It won't even be something that I will have to beg for or ask or hint. You know how sometimes ladies, we hint and be like, yeah, I really would like it if we talked every day, or, I love hearing your voice. I would love to hear it every day. Nigga, call me back. That's what that means. That's what that means. That means text me back. That means text me first. That means text me and randomly say you miss me. That's what that means. But we give hints because we don't want to come off annoying. We don't want to come off like we're doing too much. No, these niggas aren't enough. Yo, if I could build my man, you know how we could build a bear? I would build the perfect man of God. I know there's such thing as perfect, but no, he will be perfect enough for me. The perfect man of God, because I don't understand, yo. It's really a joke how my dating life is, okay? So please do not let anyone tell you that if you are doing like if there are a situation where you are doing too much, then okay, check yourself, okay? Like examples of that would be something like, I want every time you take me out, you have like a rose to give me. That'd be romantic, cool, but not every time. Like, I just have an honest dialogue with yourself and monologue with yourself and determine your expectations and maybe, match it with not match it with someone else, but get the advice from someone else and see, is this a lot? Am I asking for too much? But ultimately, what we ask for, I feel like, I know I'm not alone in this. We just ask for time. We ask for attention. We ask for consideration. We ask for thoughtfulness. We ask for romance. All of that is not too much. All of that should be a given. All of that should be literally the bare minimum, nigga. Open my door. Okay, open the door. That's a bare minimum. That's not something, oh my gosh, he's really one of a kind. It's just sad that we live in a world where the expectations for men to really be the men that we need as women is so beyond low that expecting or requiring a man to not go ghost on you is too much for these niggas. You expect too much. And then I was like, yo, that really annoyed me. Then I was like, no, that's ridiculous. I don't expect too much. I expect respect. He's like, oh, y'all could go on and on, but no, expecting too much is not something that is real. That's all a false statement, a manipulation guide for niggas to make you put down your expectations, to put down your requirements, to settle so you could be with an F boy and be like, well, he said happy birthday, and nigga didn't even spell out the whole happy birthday. He just said HBD. Good night. Okay? Stop it. So that's the season of my singleness. I also want to talk about this other dude who I just don't understand what was the point. Okay, so I have this neighbor, y'all, who has been trying to have an opportunity with me. Let's just say that. An opportunity, like I'm a business. No, but he's been like every time he's literally my neighbor. Like, you know how people say neighbors and they be like, oh, he lives across, another street. No, he's literally my neighbor. Like, if I could get a telescope, binoculars, one of those. If I could get either one of those, I could see inside his house. Like, he's my neighbor. So he, like, many times, he'll spark up conversation with me whenever we see each other outside. There have been many times when we would literally walk outside at the same time. I mean, that could be creepy. I don't know if he just knows that it's me coming out the house. But there's many times where we would just run into each other, and he'll spark conversation, and he has asked me 3 times, y'all. 3 times I have denied. But he has asked me out. He's like, oh, let's take you out to dinner. Or he'll say things like, what are you doing tonight? I would like to take you out, to dinner. Or I'd take you to dinner and movie, like little things like that. And I will always be like, that awkward smile and that nod and you walk away. Yeah, that's what I did. So I did that. Like a bee. But I did that because, one, he's my neighbor, okay? And I like to think things through thoroughly, which means if it doesn't work out, y'all, you're still my neighbor. I can't just up and like leave because things didn't work out. We had a horrible breakup. No, I have to face running into you often, okay? That's awkward. I don't want to deal with that, and I don't know you like that to know if you're not a crazy person. He could be a crazy neighbor. And oh, I didn't text him back timely enough. He knocks on my door like, nigga, I live with my parents, Haitian parents. You can't do that. I know I'm 27 years old, but you still can't do that. Okay? Until I move out, that's when I'm an adult in their eyes. But I'm still their baby girl, their last daughter, their last child. So no, you can't just anyways, so he asked me out. This was like 2 weeks ago, y'all. He asked me what happened. So I just so happened to walk out my house the same time as he was outside, like as he walked out his house, and I was putting away the trash. I was wearing my gym wear. So obviously gym wear is tight, is right. I'm not wearing no baggy stuff. Like, I look good, okay? You can see my whole body. And that's not on purpose. I'm not trying to attract him, but I look good. And you can see that. Everything's accentuated. So, I'm throwing away the trash. And he sparks the conversation. He's like, hi, neighbor. He's like, hey, neighbor. And and I'm like, oh, hey, hi, how you doing? A little conversation. And he's like, yeah. And no, what I said? Yeah. So I'm like, oh, so where you about to go? Because he's about to go in his car. And I'm just like sparking conversation. He's like, oh, I'm just about to get some groceries. And I'm like, oh, you are? Well, and mind you, I was joking. I feel like maybe I don't know, maybe I put out the wrong message, but I didn't touch him or anything. Like, so what I said was like, oh, you about to go to the grocery? Oh, you gonna get me some chicken? Or you gonna get me something? Nigga, I'm joking. Like, if that's flirting, y'all, then y'all have low expectations of flirting, because that's ridiculous. This is a joke, okay? And then, so obviously he took that and ran, okay? Like a nigga would, and was like, oh, what do you want? I could get you something. Or how about I could take you out to dinner, dinner and a movie. And I'm just like, great. I just walked myself into it. And at that point, at that time, that was the fourth time of him attempting to take me out, on a date. And so I'm just like, "Ugh, you know what?" And that was right after my whack ass conversation with that dude saying, "Oh, I expect too much." I'm like, you know what? Yeah, why not? So I said to him, I'm like, oh, first I was trying to play it off like, oh no, you don't have to. And I was just joking about the whole chicken thing. I'm just joking about the whole chicken thing. I'm just joking. But he was persistent. So I was like, you know what, fine. So I was like, okay, sure. And we exchanged numbers. First, before we exchanged numbers, he was like, oh, so I could just, knock on your door and you could come out. And I'm like, no, nope, you can't. That's where we stop. You can't knock on my door. I don't live here alone. My parents live here. This is their house. This is their mortgage. Like, this is not, you can't just knock on my door. Like, no, this is different. I have Haitian parents. No, that's not happening. Okay? I will I will respond to your text. You could text me, call me. I will respond and I will meet you outside and we will make that plan. Okay? But no, you cannot knock on my door. Not happening. Okay? So he said that. We exchanged numbers. Well, I said that. We exchanged numbers and I also, in that time, so before I gave him my number, he asked me, oh, when am I free? What's my availability? So mind you, that day was a Thursday, y'all. And I said, oh, I'm free Saturday night. Saturday's fine with me. He said, okay, so Saturday it is. And that's when we exchanged numbers. Okay, cool. Saturday's confirmed. That's the date. Okay. I'm thinking, okay, that's the date. That's because, nigga, you asked me when I'm free. I gave you my availability and we move forward from there. Okay. That day, Thursday still, mind you, we exchanged numbers. I gave him my number. I didn't have my phone out, so I didn't take his number yet. I gave him my number. That day, I go back inside the house. He drives off, and I'm expecting that he would text me immediately and say, "Oh, hey, this is so and so, your neighbor," and I will just save that number as his contact on my phone. He didn't do that. Okay, that's weird. He didn't do that. He didn't text me until later on that night, like around 8, 9 o'clock, and was just like, it was just like a random conversation. Like, he wanted to know if I work out or do I just look cute like that all the time. I'm like, first of all, I'm in my workout clothes. If this is cute, I mean, I look good, but it's not like I was like in a ball gown or whatever. But I was just like, oh, just like, it was just like light conversation. And that was that. Later on that night, not later on, but like 30 minutes after that initial text, I come home at the same time as him, y'all. And this has happened many times before. It's kind of weird and kind of annoying. But I will come home at the same time as him, and he parks ahead of me, of course. And, well, not of course, y'all don't know. But he parks ahead of me, and I'm behind. And he's my next door, like, he's my neighbor. So I see that he's parking just like me. I thought he saw me. I was gonna say something, but by the time I turned around, he already walked in. So I texted him. I said, "Oh, we arrived at the same time. LOL, whatever." And he's like, "Oh, I didn't even notice. You should have spoke up. I would have invited you in." Huh? For what? Don't we have a date on Saturday? Why are you inviting me prior to that date? See, that's the thing about y'all. Yeah. It's like, if there's an opportunity to not do what you say you was gonna do, that's what niggas do. They do that. They don't do what they say they were going to do. It's like, why are you trying to find an opportunity to see me prior to the date? Why are you even suggesting and asking me directly that you'll invite me over? Why am I even invited over to your house? We haven't even gone on a date, nigga. What are we doing? Like, really, what is going on here? So I'm reading that. I'm thinking all of this in my head. I'm just like annoyed, like, ugh, red flag. There was already, yeah. Anyways, red flag. But I responded. I said, "Oh, by the time I turned, you was already inside." And I said, for my last sentence in that text was, "Maybe next time," and that was obviously in response to him saying, "I would have invited you in." And that was the end of that conversation, y'all. When I tell you he didn't respond after that, I know my message got through because the prior ones did, and not nigga. He got that text, okay? And Friday comes, y'all. Nothing. I didn't text him first. I don't text niggas first like that. I use, and that's not no, oh, because I'm just, this princess. No, it's not. That's not coming from that mindset. It's coming from the mindset of having been the one to text dudes first for many years, having been the aggressor in many situationships, having been the man really in the many situationships and relationships. I have taken the opportunity to be the woman that I am and require courting, require romance, require those steps to be taken. Okay. So I am not going to be shamed into texting you first because I just want you to feel like I appreciate you. No, no, no. And don't get me wrong, I text first here and there, but don't tell me you want to take me out. I finally give you my number. I tell you my availability. I say yes to your request. And you go ghost. What? Come on, y'all. Like, this is why I don't give, like, yo. Okay, so I don't hear him from Friday. Something, okay, maybe we just don't talk on Friday. Okay, cool. Saturday comes. Saturday morning comes. Saturday noontime comes. Saturday afternoon comes. The evening is creeping around the corner. At that point, we should have already been out. We should have already been at whatever place. And mind you, at that point, nothing was even determined as to where would we go, how will we get there, and what time. You know how you plan a date, like people do, right? You plan a date, you say, "Oh, let's check out this restaurant." Okay, are you going, do you want to ride with me? Do you want me to pick you up? Or do you want to meet me there? I would have met him there because I still like having the control of having my car and leaving or and doing whatever I want. But yeah, having that conversation of where, when, and how was never had, was never determined, and that really, that that turned me off, obviously. So Saturday comes, the whole day passes by, nothing happens, and boom, there it goes. Another waste in this situation that could have been. Um, and so and of course I'm not texting him first. Of course, I wasn't going to ask, "Hey, were we supposed to go out?" No, nigga, you knew. No, you knew. And if you didn't know, now you know. Don't mess with me, okay? Don't ask me out to just not follow through. Okay, so that's over. I'm over it. It's been a couple of days since that. Okay, so it was like 2 weeks ago. That Thursday, Saturday was supposed to be the date. That week comes in. Literally a week from Thursday comes. He texts me, y'all, for the first time since last Thursday, from that Thursday prior, and was like, "Hi, is this Maxine?" And mind you, I already forgot his number. I already deleted his number at that point because if why do I need to have you saved as a contact anymore? So I deleted his number at that point. I didn't know who it was. So I said, "Yes, who is this?" Like I really didn't know who it was. Like I wasn't even trying to be petty. Like I really forgot. Like obviously I didn't memorize his number. So I say, "Yes, it is. Who's this?" And he's like, "Oh, this is so and so, your neighbor." And he's like, "Oh, he had to get his phone resynced that weekend, and he was hoping I would have called or texted him. He assumed I was busy." And I said to him, nigga, what? And I'm like, oh, I assumed you were busy too because I didn't hear from you. And then his response, he had the nerve to say, he's like, I don't want you to feel like you can't spark a conversation or can't even ask a question. Huh? Is this real life? Like, what are you saying right now? So I would say to him, okay, I understand that, but you initiated for us to go out. You initiated for, so I said, I understand that, but you initiated for us to go out on that Saturday, but I didn't hear from you that day. Period. That's all I said. No response, y'all. No response. I didn't double text. I don't do that either. And it's been a week or two since that last conversation. And that's been that, okay? And his phone remains a non-contact on my phone. Because the nerve of you to finally get a yes from me just to go ghost on me. Like, why ask? First of all, I didn't ask for you to ask me out. I didn't give you suggestions or flirt with you, tremendously for you to feel like, okay, things could be, progressive with us, blah blah blah. None of that took place. This was all on your call. And for you to fall that incredibly short is truly a testament of what things would have been had a relationship formed between us. And that's all, y'all. That's really all, because honestly, a man shows you who they are in the beginning. Okay? He will show you whether or not he is interested from the very beginning. He will make that clear. And if he's someone who is not of his word, he forgets to text you, he forgets to call you, he could go on dates without calling you or texting you, he could suddenly find an excuse as to why he couldn't take you out when he said he was going to take you out. That is something that will continuously be a pattern in y'all's relationship. So cut that out in the beginning. Don't awaken love. Let me bring it back to scripture. Okay? Don't awaken love until it so desires, because had I been a woman at that moment who was desperate and anxious and really insecure and really just wanted to go out with someone who, oh, he wants to take me out, let me just go ahead and go out with him. If I was someone of that caliber, I would have awakened love. Not really love. It wouldn't have been love immediately, but I would have awakened love like feelings, emotions, like feelings, that weren't supposed to be at all aroused, that weren't supposed to be at all developed. Okay? I would have forced something that wasn't for me. Okay? And that is God. Take a moment, ladies and fellas, to thank God for stopping things early, okay? Especially if things even were going well. If things were going well and suddenly they weren't, the person goes ghost, the person suddenly, can't do it anymore. I'm not really ready for a relationship. I don't know what's going on with my mental space and blah blah blah. Thank God. Thank God for making that situation be cut and be removed from your life in the beginning, okay? Because had you stayed, had you forced something, had you aroused or awakened love before it was ready to be waken up, then it would have not been a good situation, to say the least, okay? It would have not been something that's in alignment with what God has for you. And that's all to say. Don't settle for these niggas. Don't try to make more out of something than what it is. Don't feel like your expectations are too much or that you are too much. No, you are enough. I am enough. Let's say that together. I am enough. Enough. okay? You are enough, okay? And there is no convincing otherwise. There is no persuading otherwise. You are enough just as you are. And let God continue to work within you. Let Him continue to make you who He has called you to be. So when the right one does come along, you are enough and He is enough for you, okay? And that just really annoyed me, y'all, because first of all, he was not someone that I was really like looking at, to say the least. Like, he was, first of all, like I said, my whole trepidations about neighbors. Like, don't date your neighbor, right? There's that, and there's the fact that he has a child, like in her preteens or whatever. But I I'm not trying to date any more baby fathers. Okay? If you're not my baby father, I don't want to date you. And even if you are my baby father, I don't have any kids, y'all. But that's just all a joke. But my point is, I'm not trying to date anyone's baby father. Okay? I'm not trying to make a situation work out with baby fathers. I'm not trying to make you convinced that you should be a man of your word and be attentive towards me, because a lot of times these fathers have to obviously be there for their child and take care of them and all that great stuff, but they can't give me the attention that I so desire. And call me selfish, but nigga, I want all of your time. Okay, I don't want to share it with your child. I don't that's not what I want. Okay. And that is something that I have to pray on, because I keep on attracting these baby daddies. I don't know what's up with my spirit, but I really know that I have something within me that is afraid of commitment, because I'm afraid of just the lack of control of it all. And by lack of control, I mean, once feelings are involved and emotions are developed, it is hard to shake it off. It's hard to shake it off even after the breakup happens, and it's hard to move forward. And it can be done, obviously, it can be, but it's hard. And I know a lot of the times I have found myself situations that I have forced love, forced like to grow. I have been the side chick for many situations. But that was in college. That was in undergrad. So that really don't matter. Like, y'all weren't even really together. Like, he was cheating on you regardless. But but look, I'm just being honest. I just feel like awakening love prior to the time it's supposed to be woke up. It's not something that is obviously healthy. It's not what God has for you. Okay. So I say all of that to encourage you all in your season of singleness to be happy in this season, to pursue your happiness in this season, whatever that looks like. Go forward with the goal that you've been trying to tuck away. Go forward with that idea that you've been thinking about, the creativity, the thoughts that you have. Go forward and do what you have been wanting to do. This is your time to go forward with that. Just go forward, okay? Singleness is a great opportunity for you to be better, for you to grow, for you to be smarter, um, just a better person overall. It is a great time, okay? So don't, and this is just for me as well, don't let social media or people around you make you feel like you're missing out, or that you're pathetic or sad, this sad case, or that you're Miss Lonely because you don't have a significant other. The time will come. Pray on it. Ask God to reveal anything in you that may be attracting the wrong guys. I know I gotta ask Him, because I keep on attracting these baby daddies, and I don't know if if I am supposed to be with one, but God knows I don't want one. Yo. Anyways, yeah. So Do not arouse or awaken love until it so desires. Take your time. Learn more about yourself. Travel, solo travel, group travel, but explore a lot of different things. And when the time comes, it will come and it will hit and it will hopefully work. Okay. So let's go ahead and wrap up with prayer. Father God, we thank you for your word. We thank you for the advice that you continuously give us, Lord. We know that the walk and the path that you have for us is all written in the word. So we pray that we open our hearts and open our minds to receive it and understand it and apply it accordingly in our lives, Father God. Lord, we ask for clarity and the spirit of discernment to take place in our life. I pray that we recognize who is for us and who is not. And I pray that we can let go of those who are not for us and receive the lesson that we learn from that and apply it for future experiences. Jesus, we come to you like this in your name as we pray. Amen. All right, y'all. So please like, subscribe, rate, and share this episode, my podcast as a whole, and continue the conversation using the hashtag GodBuiltThisPod. And also follow me on Instagram and Twitter at HeyMamore, HeyMamore. And again, I am your host of God Build This Podcast. I'm your host, Maxine. I will see y'all, hear from y'all next week.